So you won the multiple offer situation and you did it with an escalator clause. But now maybe, just maybe, you've run into a problem. Is your appraisal short? This is Wysocarski with Real Estate in a Nutshell, and I want to lay out some scenarios that might help you keep a deal together when the appraisal comes in a little bit short. We are in a time where properties are appreciating super fast, faster than normal. And we are seeing some appraisals come in short. Now, how we navigate this is going to be the difference between a sale going through and a buyer getting the home that they want, that they fought for and won, the seller getting the best possible price because, they deserve that too. How do you get to the finish line? Well, there's three scenarios. The first one, when it falls short, is that the buyer can go to the seller and say, look we offered $255 and an escalator clause, and the appraisal came in at $250. We would like you to drop the price to $250. And if the seller agrees, you're done. Move, advance the go, close your deal. Now there is another scenario, and that is the buyer can ask the seller to reduce the price, the $5,000, from $255 to $250, and they can say no, and they can haggle back and forth, and they can work it out with some number in the middle. That happens too. The third scenario is that the seller goes to the buyer and says, look, I had 12 offers. I selected you because I like you. And 3 of them were at the same $255 range. We just happen to like you and your family, better. And we really would like you to have the house, but we want the $255. And we do have backup offers at $255. So if you're unable to move forward, that's okay. We will move on to the backup. And at that point, you cancel on one side and you bring back a different deal, provided they still want the house, which in most cases, since the inventory is super low, they are usually still wanting the property. Now, how do we navigate this if there's financing involved? See, it's easy, it's just cash. But in financing situations, it runs differently. So in the first scenario, as long as it appraised at $250 instead of the $255 purchase price, and they drop the price to the $250, then the loan works the same way as if it came in at that appraisal amount. That's easy. If it's somewhere in the middle, and let's say that they meet at $250-$255, well, now the buyer has to figure out where that other $2,500 is coming, because their down payment percentage, whether it's 3.5% for FHA or 5% for conventional or some other number, that percentage, let's say it's 5%, is based on the $250 where the appraisal came in. So it's $12,500. That's the most down payment that they can, that's being required on the $250 price. But you're missing $2,500 because it's actually selling at $250, $255. So you've got to take that other $2,500, add it on to your 5% down payment, and that squares the number. So what they really say is, with 5% down in an appraisal of $250, your maximum that you can finance is $237,500. So if your purchase price is $252,500, a little math will tell you $15,000 down payment, and that's absolutely how you're going to navigate that. Now, what we run into is, let's say it's the higher price at $255 or $260 or $270. Let's say it comes in $20,000 light. Well, the same scenario applies. If you're in 5% down payment territory and it's $237,500 maximum financing, and let's say that you're at $270, well, that small down payment now is turning about $32,500. And for some buyers with 5% down, they may not be able to come up with the difference. The other thing that we haven't talked about is, let's say that we had made a $255 offer with $5,000 coming back in concessions, and maybe we eventually got it to agree and appraise at the $250 level. Well, those $5,000 concessions might be out the window. And if the buyer truly needs every bit of those seller concessions, and let's say it's $5,000, in order to close the deal, now everybody's agreed. All the numbers are working except for the buyer doesn't have the cash to close. You have another dead deal. So there are a lot of scenarios that are being played around right now, and with rising prices really quick, we're likely to see that some properties just don't appraise right now. Now, there is some news that I want to share with you. Let's say over 30 or 60 days, as these escalated deals are closing, you're going to get some new comps. And it could be a month or two down the road, that these homes will start appraising out. So there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Now, is it everything you need right now? No. But here's what I would tell you. If you're in a financing situation and the appraisal is light and you've done everything you can, you've disputed it, what you can do is say, look, hey, we have a new comp for you to consider. Even if the appraisal is done, you can do a reconsideration. And let's say, the week before closing, home comes in at $255. Get that back to the appraiser. Look, there's been a change in circumstance. We did the appraisal 3 weeks ago, but these two closings just happened at $255 and $256 and whatever that is. You might get a reconsideration on there. So there's a lot of information packed into this. If the appraisal comes in short, it's very predictable what you can do, and we're familiar with most of the outcomes. But keep your eye on the closings, because a home may be selling today that will bring the appraisal in for you legitimately. I hope this is helping you. Definitely leave a comment below if you've got more questions. Hit the subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. This is Ron Wysocarski for Real Estate in a Nutshell.